Hey guys, what's going on? And today we're going to be going over what happened during this last off season, just all the roster changes and who we can expect on what teams during this season of RLCS. Now, yes, before we start the video, I do know that obviously there are going to be a lot more teams than RLCS this season. Kind of wasn't planning for this a few months ago, but to make things simple so this video doesn't go past 30 minutes long, I'm only going to be talking about the teams that would have been in RLCS as of last season. So the teams that should be the top 10 of Europe as of right now, that's who I'm going to be talking most about. Okay, so as far as all the other teams go, I am not going to be talking about them. Again, the video would just be very, very long that way. Because now, as you guys know, instead of there being only 10 teams in RLCS, I think there are 32 teams now per region. So a lot of teams just would be too many to go over. But yeah, let's talk about the top 10. Let's talk about the 10 from last season and just see all the roster changes and what we can expect, just to give everyone a refresher. And as always, before we start the video, if you guys do enjoy, make sure to hit subscribe. You guys can leave a like on the video as well. Yeah, let's get right into it. So first teams first, we're going to start off with Renault Vitality, and this one's pretty easy. They're all the same. KDOP, Fairy Peak, Alpha 54, some of the best players in the world. This team is probably the best team in Europe. Oxygen Esports is just right up there with them. We've talked about this a lot during the offseason. I expect Renault Vitality to be one of the best European teams during this season of RLCS Season 10. And yeah, pretty easy. Not a lot of changes with Renault Vitality, but that'll be the only easy one of this video. Let's get on to the next one. And next up we get to Dignitas, and I'm sure a lot of people remember this story. So as you know, Dignitas actually won regional championships of Europe last season. However, after doing so, Astral was dropped from the roster. Now, was Astral dropped? Did he leave on his own free will? That's still kind of up in the air. Nobody will know for sure what exactly happened, but that's besides the point. Astral's off the team, and they picked up Jory. Jory is just a very young and talented player. Okay, we saw how well Jory competed during Spring Series, and now he's getting the chance to compete with Dignitas. And that's what's happening with Dignitas. Now let's get on to Reciprocity. Reciprocity was the old roster, but Reciprocity actually, if you guys remember, they dropped their entire roster after RLCS, and then they ended up becoming Oxygen Esports, where they dropped Fruity and picked up Astral. So Astral, after he was off of Dignitas, moved to Oxygen Esports, who is the former Reciprocity. So Oxygen Esports now consisting of Chaussette, Astral, and Farah. I mean, they look like a very good team, definitely one of the best in Europe, and I expect great things from this roster going in to RLCS Season 10. Next up, we get into Mousesports, and Mousesports were performing very, very well, especially towards the end of RLCS. But I'll make this simple. Mousesports had a lot of tryouts in between. So the original players on their roster were Cookser Speed and Scrubkilla. Scrubkilla obviously left due to contract issues. And during the offseason, Mousesports became Team Liquid, a huge esports organization, and they picked up Fruity. So Speed, Cookser, and Fruity are all on Team Liquid now. We've seen them perform very well at some points during this offseason. I'm definitely interested to see how they do during RLCS. I don't think that they will be that bad. I think they'll be a very good team. However, they still got a couple things to work on for sure. And then next up, this one is Veloce. And I'm sure everybody remembers the old Veloce roster. Remember, it consisted of Flame, Freaky, and Cassio. Veloce really started to perform better during the end of RLCS Season 9. However, that didn't stop them from making a roster change. After RLCS, Veloce actually dropped their whole roster of Flame, Freaky, and Cassio, and they ended up forming the team Top Blokes, who, as of right now, that's still the team that they are right now. And they ended up dropping Freaky from the roster for Archie. Archie, as you guys remember, he was the young gun from Spring Series. He was just an insanely talented player, got himself a spot in an RLCS team, and we're definitely going to see how Archie performs this season of RLCS. He was a phenomenal player in Spring Series, just like Jory is. Can't wait to see him perform. But yeah, Veloce is out. Top Blokes is who this team is right now, and yeah, it's going to be Flame, Cassio, and Archie. But then next up, we get into FC Barcelona, and thank God FC Barcelona are the same organization. However, they are not the same roster. As you remember, it was Devo, Ronicky, and Felix. Now, due to playstyle mismatch and then all the players not being on the same page, most of RLCS, Flakes ended up leaving the roster, and Itachi, it was Itachi who they ended up bringing in. FC Barcelona seems to mesh very well with Itachi, so excited to see how they perform with him in the future. And yeah, so that's FC Barcelona. It's going to be Devo, Ronicky, and Itachi. Then we get into Team Singularity. Now, this story just came out very recently. Now, the Team Singularity roster was acquired by Guild Esports. Team Singularity, as you remember, they went on to acquire a completely different RLCS roster, but that's besides the point. This ex-Singularity roster of Tho, Noli, and Godsmilla were all signed to Guild Esports. But you might remember that Godsmilla was benched, and he was never put back on the starting roster. Who was put on the starting roster? It was Scrubkilla. Tho, Noli, and Scrubkilla all going to be on Guild Esports, the ex-Singularity, going into RLCS Season 10. Okay, definitely going to be a team to look out for. Noli and Tho have great mechanics, just like Scrubkilla. They all play very well together from what I've seen. Let's see how they do in RLCS. Now we get into Endpoint. As you guys might remember, Endpoint was in RLCS last season, RLCS Season 9, and they went to the promo relegation tournament. They survived the promo relegation tournament, and afterwards, they ended up getting rid of Nachitao and picking up Metzenaris. So as of right now, Endpoint consists of Relating Wave, Virtuoso, and Metzenaris, and they have a very demo-heavy playstyle, at least what we saw from last spring series. Okay, and just all the little bits over the off-season. Definitely going to see how they perform in RLCS. You know, Endpoint definitely had a few things that they needed to work on. Hopefully, with the acquisition of Metzenaris, and after placing third in spring series, they do a little bit better this season of RLCS. You know, that's all we can hope for. You know, will they perform any better? Like I said, we'll just have to wait and see. But, you know, I've heard a lot of people that do like this this new roster with the acquisition of Metzenaris. A lot of people think that he's a much better fit for the team. So, yeah, we're definitely just going to have to wait and see how they play together. And, yeah, now finally, we get to the last two. TSM and AS Monaco. Alright, TSM unfortunately was relegated and they were replaced by Solari, while ASM was auto-relegated and was replaced with BDS, who got auto-promoted. So we aren't going to talk about TSM and ASM. We're going to talk about Solari and BDS, because those were the teams that made it out of the promotion tournament. Or in BDS's case, the auto-promotion. So now we're going to talk about Solari, and this was a very, very interesting roster change. I know a lot of people didn't like it. Now, just so you guys know, I'm not great at pronouncing names. However, the roster is Kyrian, Exotic, and it was Meloshisu, but they dropped Meloshisu. He was removed from the roster for Yukis. And the big controversy about this was that Meloshisu was basically the carry. I mean, he was MVP of the promo relegation tournament. You know, really helped that team secure their RLCS spot last season, and then he ended up being off the roster. So yeah, I know a lot of people did not like that. However, it is what it is, and it's going to be Kyrian, Exotic, and Yukis on Solari. Going to be probably a top team in Europe, a top 10 team. So yeah, definitely go watch how they play during this season. And finally, we get onto BDS, who traded spots with ASM. Team BDS actually made a roster change that a lot of people seem to like. It used to be Clayx, Mark by 8, and Monkey Moon, but they ended up dropping Clayx. He was released from the team, and they ended up picking up Extra, who used to be on AS Monaco. Okay, Extra actually performed very well on AS Monaco, despite their not so great performance in RLCS altogether. However, Extra is now given the chance to perform on another RLCS team. And yeah, the team is going to consist of a Monkey Moon marked by 8 and Extra now. So that is all the roster changes for Europe. I am going to be covering North America tomorrow. Reason I'm doing Europe today is because, well, Europe technically plays in RLCS today. But I mean, it is crazy to think about that the only team that didn't make a change is Renault Vitality. I mean, that's just crazy to think about for me. And then on North America's side, obviously it would be G2 and pretty sure Alpine Esports are the only two. Just only 3 teams out of the original 20 that didn't make a change in some way, whether it was the organization, whether it was the roster, whether it was both. a ton of stuff that went on in this offseason. I know a lot of people probably were confused. I really, really hope that this video just helps clear up any confusion that people might have had. But yeah, that has been everything basically. Thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy, if you learned something, make sure to hit subscribe, like the video. You can follow me on my Twitter at cherry_ZRL. I just post tweets. That's about it. But yep, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.